I want to say I like Minecraft, at least the idea of it. When it comes to my tastes in gaming, I tend to gravitate towards sandbox and building games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, SimCity, Spore, basically any game where you can make cool stuff and do things with the cool stuff you make. Even if a game just has something like a map or level editor, I'll often spend a good chunk of time with a game just making maps or levels. That's just the kind of gamer I am. It's why I foolishly took up game dev at some point. So, you'd think a game like Minecraft, where the whole point is to create whatever you want in an infinitely generated world, would be right up my alley. At least I thought so back 11 or so years ago when I was 13, when I first discovered Minecraft through all these different YouTube videos where people would make all sorts of castles and towns and TNT launch pads. All sorts of things I desperately wanted to build myself. I would literally have these dreams of building my own open world, my own Zelda map or something like that. It's something I begged my parents for years to have. And so, they got me Minecraft in the middle of 2014 as a middle school graduation gift. I installed the launcher on my old HP desktop, downloaded version 1.7.9, created a survival world, and spawned in for the first time, ready to Minecraft. It didn't go too well. It's common knowledge that Minecraft, especially 10 years ago, didn't really have a tutorial. At least an explicit one. Nowadays, the game has a recipe book that helps immensely with crafting, but back then, aside from the rather vague achievements, you had to figure everything out yourself, and you only have 10 minutes to do so before the sun sets and the monsters come out. Of which I unknowingly wasted every last one, trying to dig through stone with my bare hands, checking out the controls, playing around with the super secret settings, punching a tree, finding out that trees float, making a crafting table, getting overwhelmed by the 3x3 crafting space, and deciding to just look up what to do for 3 or 4 minutes with the crafting table open, which didn't pause the game. So the sun set when I wasn't looking, and when I returned to try to make sticks for a sword, I got killed by a spider. Upon respawning, I noticed my planks were gone, so I decided to follow my first steps back to where I died, killed the spider that killed me, which took 15 punches, and then got killed again by a zombie. When I respawned again, I decided to punch a new tree and start over, only to get ambushed by a pair of skeletons and die again. And then my computer blue screened because it was a Windows Vista desktop and it was a piece of shit. Yeah, that might have something to do with how I feel. All I wanted to do for starters was build a launch pad, like I saw that one guy do years prior. And all this shit about crafting and surviving clearly wasn't leading me anywhere near that goal. And I haven't even figured out how to get food yet. So, I chickened out and switched to creative mode, and pretty much never looked back. Didn't have to worry about monsters or crafting, didn't have to use tools, I could just build whatever I wanted with just about any block in a game without dying. I could even fly and use commands to do even more stuff. All I needed to build a launch pad. And so, I've stuck mostly to creative mode for the next 10 or so years, sinking hours upon hours into it. I would build all these sky temples and towers and parkour courses. I'd use TNT to make craters and super flat worlds and turn them into lakes, where I'd build piers and boardwalks on top and underwater bases below. I'd occasionally build these Kowloon walled city type villages where I'd make these tiny homes and cobble them together in haphazard ways. And my biggest project by far was this stone and brick city complete with skulls, McMansions, a mall, and a downtown surrounded by a wall, surrounded by a park, surrounded by a highway. I really wish that hard drive didn't die. I've made some cool shit over the years, on multiple different computers, even dabbling in making adventure maps from time to time when that mattered. And I found a lot of enjoyment and creative satisfaction from doing so. It's just that, for whatever reason, after months or sometimes just weeks of working on a single world, I'd often get to a point where I wouldn't know what to make next, or I'd just get bored, or I'd have some IRL things going on I need to focus on. Regardless, I'd often find myself losing motivation, and eventually abandoning the worlds and sometimes the game itself for long stretches of time. In fact, I haven't really been playing much of creative Minecraft at all in these past few years, at least not consistently. Alright, you know what I'm talking about, the old 2-week phase. Get the urge to play Minecraft, make a world, make some stuff, get bored after a while, then quit. Sometimes I don't even want to make stuff, sometimes I just want to play around with stuff, right? Blow stuff up, blow up my PC, make lava castles, turn villages into reservations, one-shot the Ender Dragon, or my favorite, make a chicken bomb. Basically fly up high, make a 1x1 platform, block it off on all sides, then spawn a crap ton of chickens on top of each other, break the block underneath, and watch them float down together like a UFO before they hit the ground and explode. That's all fun for a while, but hardly gratifying. At that point, creative mode is less a game and more a sandbox, something to dick around in every once in a while, when you don't want to be productive and you're too lazy to boot up a real game. More specifically, it's something I would do while listening to podcasts or YouTube videos. Perfect amount of mediocrity to go with mediocre Reddit stories. And that's ultimately the extent of what Minecraft meant to me for the longest time, alright? A time killer. One of the best time killers, don't get me wrong. I like being able to build all this stuff and mess around when I can, but ultimately, as a game, it didn't have much impact on me. Besides the music's great. And believe me, that's not from a lack of trying. I've tried survival mode many times throughout the years, the part that actually resembles a game, and I've gotten pretty okay at it, but much like with creative mode, it wouldn't be long until I get bored and abandon my survival worlds too. It's to the point where I've never actually properly beaten the Ender Dragon out of sheer loss of motivation. I just don't care. Like what, for a dragon egg? Elytras? Coupled with all the bloat of modern Minecraft where it seems like the devs are just throwing shit into a blender in a vain attempt to hide the limits of the world's procedural generation, you have the situation where I always find myself not knowing where to start before not knowing what to do. The way I saw it for a while, survival mode was a harder way of getting less blocks to build with than I would have if I just went with creative. And with my creative drive being spread thin as is between music, game dev, and, YouTube, I'm left not being as fulfilled with the game as I was desperately hoping I'd be. And I feel like I missed out somehow. This is a multi-generationally beloved game everyone else seems to get so much out of, and yet for the longest time I just never fell in love with it, despite it being tailor-made for me. That is until earlier this year. It started with me discovering the Prism launcher, which is an alternative Minecraft launcher that's focused on making modding as easy as possible. As far as I know, it's a fork of Multi-MC that allows you to directly download mods from Modminth and CurseForge. Believe it or not, I've been playing nothing but vanilla Minecraft this whole time, with the only mod I ever used being Optifine for performance. It's not because I didn't want to mod the game, it's just that the official Minecraft launcher made it kinda hard, as you had to move files manually and move them out of the folder when you didn't need them, and it was kind of a mess. But with Prism, I was finally able to mod the game super easily with instances, which opened up many more opportunities for Minecraft I would have never known existed. You can add new mobs, blocks, ores, TNTs, biomes, structures, different quality of life features, performance optimizers, physics mods, distant horizons, the Aether, shaders. So many different things that can completely change the way Minecraft looks and functions. These mods alone would immediately pique my interest with Minecraft for the first time in a while. But even without the mods, you can install several different versions of the base game much easier than you would with the official Minecraft launcher. Because that's the thing Mojang lets you do. You can install any old version of the game you want, dating even before the official release. And Prism makes that even easier, although you do have to deal with some stuff with Java. And that gave me an idea. You see, there's this old version of Minecraft I keep hearing about all over YouTube called Beta 1.7.3. It's the final version of Minecraft released before the infamous Beta 1.8 update, also known as the Adventure Update, which introduced all these things like hunger, stacked food, sprinting, experience points, new structures, new terrain generation, all sorts of changes that represent a major turning point in Minecraft's direction. And it proved to be quite controversial. Many people took issue with the new survival mechanics like the hunger and XP, as well as the new terrain generation algorithm, which was seen as kind of a downgrade from before. It was essentially a different game from 1.7.3, or at least a new direction for the game that not everyone jived with. With modern Minecraft continually being regarded as bloated and directionless, many people have retroactively assessed Beta 1.7.3 as the best version of Minecraft, as it's the final version of the game before all the hunger and combat gimmicks and shit started to lead the game astray. And with all this talk surrounding Beta 1.7.3, I figured, why not check it out, see if it does something for me. And yeah, it's certainly different from what I'm used to, a lot more simple. You can't sprint, you can't stack food, eating food directly heals you, skeletons shoot arrows from above their heads and much more often, wacky terrain generation, barren nether, the classic roof sound. It's all here. There's no creative mode, no commands, no world settings, no FOV slider, none of the convenient inventory features like click to drag or shift click to craft en masse, no ender dragon, no endgame really to speak of. It's pretty much just Minecraft in its purest form. And I gotta say, I see the appeal. It is held back by a ton of bugs and performance issues that are to be expected from a beta version of a game that already has bugs and performance issues, but there's also something to be said about how simple Beta 1.7.3 is. The way the sunlight goes away in steps as the sun sets, the fact there's only music from C418's Minecraft Alpha, the fact that there are fewer types of mobs in the game, and the limited number of blocks feeling more cohesive with each other. It feels a lot more like the indie game it used to be rather than the Microsoft-owned AAA behemoth it is now. And there's a certain charm to that. And the lack of a creative mode really forced me to approach this proto-survival mode in a different way that finally, for the first time forever, helped me click with it. I started to appreciate what it is I could build in this mode, with what little blocks I could find. Having said that, it's not what ultimately helped me fall in love with Minecraft. What did do it for me was a specific mod for Beta 1.7.3 called Better Than Adventure. You may have heard of it. The premise of BTA is that it's an alternate timeline of what would have happened if Minecraft stuck with its roots and didn't go down the adventure route. Basically, what would a modern version of Beta 1.7.3 look like? It fixes many of the 1.7.3 bugs, introduces the 256 block height limit, improves performance drastically, and brings in multiple new types of world generation that all follow in the same vein as Beta Minecraft, and sometimes well before Beta Minecraft. And on top of it, it tastefully brings in many modern Minecraft features while putting its own spin on them. You can stack food now, though only to a point, and it depends on the food. Food also regenerates health instead of giving it back immediately. There are different stone types, dyed wood, raw ores instead of ore blocks. There's a new type of ore in this game only available in the nether called nether coal. The nether kinda still sucks here, just like it did in 1.7.3, but at least it's useful now, and the nether coal can be used to build a blast furnace that can also be used to make steel, which is a new type of material that's much more durable than even diamond, although not as fast for mining and shit. The mod even implements its own version of the recipe book called the guidebook, and in a much more clever way in my opinion. Basically every block in every recipe is blocked off with a question mark, and as you discover new blocks and new items and craft new things, all those question marks go away and you'll start to be able to learn more recipes and figure things out on your own. The mod even adds creative mode. It kinda sucks thanks to how bizarre the flying is, but it's there. Alright, there are so many cool things about this mod and the way it modernizes Beta 1.7.3 while still retaining its core gameplay, simplicity, and charm. Just the terrain generation alone is basically Beta taken to 11. Like, as much as I like modern Minecraft's terrain generation, and I do feel the caves in this game are a little bit lacking, the actual terrain generation is unmatched. You can stumble upon these generated structures called labyrinths, which are basically dungeons on steroids. There are many different biomes, fireflies, auroras, ice skating, new sounds. Plenty of cool new things to do and experience while still remaining simple. Even tinier things like the ability to swap toolbars on the fly, or the menu UI, or being able to organize your whole inventory by middle clicking, something even modern Minecraft doesn't have. It even brings back a refined version of that very old isometric screenshot feature from InDev. Only here it's called photo mode, and it lets you move the camera around and add filters and change lighting and seasons and everything. Pretty much a built-in X-ray hack too, but whatever. Like, there are even mods for the mod, with its own mod loader based on Fabric. Alright, mod Inception. If you ask me, this might just be one of the greatest mods for Minecraft ever. When it comes to just making the best possible version of old school vanilla Minecraft imaginable, it's one of the best. And I honestly think, thanks to this mod, Minecraft as a whole has finally clicked for me. So whether or not I prefer Better Than Adventure to modern vanilla Minecraft has yet to be seen. So, to be sure, I made a new instance of Minecraft 1.20.4, which isn't the latest version of Minecraft, but it's the latest one supported by the fabulously optimized mod pack, and is still firmly modern.
by talking the tail end of caves and cliffs. I then made a survival world, left all the world settings untouched, spawned into a forest, and started playing. And I played. And I played. And I played. And I played. And...
Alright, new recording. It's been roughly 3 weeks since I started that survival world, and I just finished editing up to this point. As far as playing Minecraft is concerned, outside of recording footage for this video, I've pretty much exclusively played 1.20.4, as well as some BTA because I can't help it. For full disclosure, this video started off as one of those Minecraft is boring type videos, you know the type, where I talk about how I never really got into the game and how Mojang and Microsoft's direction for it has led it astray, and the like. And when writing the original script, I realized I hadn't actually given the game a proper shake. I've pretty much stuck exclusively to vanilla creative mode this entire time. I haven't played any multiplayer, I still haven't played multiplayer yet, and I never really got that far with survival mode. So, I did my research, alright, plenty of research, and now here I am, in my mid-20s, playing Minecraft and falling in love with it. I am aware the path I took won't work for everyone, and there isn't really any one foolproof way of rediscovering Minecraft, but if all the time I put into this survival world alone is anything to go on, it worked for me. For the first time ever, I've gotten to a point where I'm not just making functional structures solely to mine for more stuff or God knows what, but I'm actually finding myself building things for the fun of it that end up being more valuable to me than anything I made in creative mode. Yeah, I've made an entire brick and stone city at some point, but this was the first time I actually made a brick and stone tower with my own hands. And it feels special because of that. As obvious as it may seem, actually having to obtain the clay to smelt bricks to craft the brick blocks I need, as opposed to just picking them from a menu, gives more stock to whatever I build with them. It's like listening to vinyl, or cooking your own food, or using Linux. Yeah, it's not as easy to do things, but it's just much more satisfying, because it feels like you're working for it. Something else I've realized is that there are a lot of things to modern Minecraft that I don't think people give it enough credit for. There are more things to do, more to see, more blocks, more hills, more mobs, and notably more quality of life features. Alright, say what you want about the game not feeling the same or whatever, I do tend to agree, but there's also plenty to be said about how polished it is. As for all the quote-unquote bloat, as I've called it throughout this whole video, all these new blocks and mobs and underwater structures and illagers and shit, it's not just cobbled together with little care or balancing. Every new feature is carefully worked into this massive framework of crafting and smelting and cutting, trading, bartering, brushing, looting. All sorts of things that you don't really need to do all at once to enjoy the game, because it's a sandbox. I do agree that the game itself doesn't have much of a progression system, and that it can feel a little bit directionless at points, but that's because it's up to the player themselves to find their own direction with the tools provided to them. You don't have to fight the Ender Dragon if you don't want to. I don't know how long I'll keep up with this survival world, or with Minecraft in general, alright? After all, this is most likely just another phase, and making a video on it has sort of turned it into an obligation at points. But considering it's been months of me playing just about every day, and I haven't slowed down or felt any kind of fatigue, I think that says something about how much I've grown to appreciate what Minecraft and the community surrounding it has to offer. Whether it be the Pale Gardens, or the old beta versions, or multiplayer, or all the mods, this game quite possibly offers the best bang for buck I've ever seen. And it's honestly a shame that it took me a whole decade to realize that. But hey, better late than never.